Today's session of February 10th, 2026 is called to order. Mary, can you please do roll call?
I will. Councilmember Bush.
Here.
Councilmember Stearns is absent this evening. Councilmember Anisco.
Here.
Mayor Sherman.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Sapp is on Zoom.
Yep, I'm here.
Member Gilmore.
Here.
Councilmember Beers.
Here.
Right. Tonight for our department reports for police, municipal court, community development, fire department are all in our packet. If you have any other questions, the city manager is available to answer them. So we will start off with, you starting?
No.
Who's starting? You're starting.
I'll kick us
Okay.
off first, if you
Okay.
don't mind. I'm gonna get our screen up.
Okay.
I just wanted to remind council, so this will kind of be the process moving forward with these departmental reports. You'll get these within the packets. We won't spend the 45 minutes or hour or so that we did the last couple meetings explaining this. We will have a little more information in the next study session from Public Works because we did not provide we provided more of a project update rather than operations update. So in the next study session, we'll spend a little time so you understand the data that sets that are going to be coming to you on a regular basis there. But again, please at any time, feel free to forward any questions you may have regarding these updates. I am going to share my screen so we can get into the 2026 work plan. Screen. Okay. So we'll start with administration, including my office, the clerk's office, human resources and risk management, department directors, chief, municipal court will go through their work plans tonight. This is fairly familiar for all of you since you've been here now through a couple of these. But this really gives us and the council and the public an opportunity to understand some of the work that's coming down the pike. Now, there's some work that is basically just what we do every day, and you've seen some of that in the department reports. There's others that are more specific, again, goal-oriented work and project-oriented as well. So first and foremost, at the top of the list, the council's strategic planning effort. As you know, we've got the retreat coming up on the 21st, second retreat scheduled for the 28th, and a bunch of work going into that effort to help develop that strategic plan so we can focus city efforts, city resources on the council's strategic efforts that you want to focus on. I will page. Employee engagement, employee recruitment, and retention are something that we've really tried to focus on the last couple of years. Leandra can speak to those a little bit, some of the efforts that we've taken on and what we're going to expand upon.
And so in 2025, we're looking to deploy our SharePoint Dashpoint, which is just a web-based collaboration platform. Departments can share any project updates. As the city manager listed, we have benefits and payroll that we can share on that platform, and employees can easily access that information. Training announcements, events that's going on internally and externally. So it's just a place where information is stored, it's shared, and everyone receives the same message. So I'm really excited about starting to work on that. And also we can measure some of our internal initiative. Like if we have an employee survey, if you have an engagement survey, we can track over time to gauge if we're improving. You know, are we communicating better with staff? Are we listening to them? So that's a good place to store and track that information. the recruitment and retention, we deployed the NeoGov platform back in 2020, but they had several iterations and we just haven't had the resources to keep up with some of those changes. So currently I'm looking at working on incorporating that back into our onboarding process. We want to make sure that we have a robust onboarding process because the first 90 days really dictates the success of, you know, if an employee stays with your organization and how engaged that they are in their role. So it is, it's up and running, but it's not something that we're using on a daily basis. It's not very, I would say the user experience isn't that great. So we're just working on the platform.
We've talked about recruitment, retention, particularly through budgetary processes, and it goes beyond compensation and benefits, right? There's a lot that we can do to ensure that we are an employer that people want to come and work or stay here, work in the city of Shelton. So it's really important that we develop these platforms, these initiatives, engagement, training programs, and the like to make sure that we are not only recruiting the best employees here, but retaining the best employees that we can in the city of Shelton.
So maintaining our asset inventory, I touched on that during the department update on our WCIA, our auto and property asset register. So that's an ongoing process. Currently working on adding our vacant land to the schedule. That's a new feature that or benefit that WCIA has offered to municipalities. So putting those, it is a process of identifying our vacant lands, adding into that register so that in the event that there is a claim or any incident, we're protected. So that's an ongoing process. Provide a safe work environment for all staff, and that is as the safety committee chair, I work with the safety committee on ongoing safety concerns in the city, identifying the hazards. Every month we have a meeting and we're just updating any of our manuals. It's again, it's ongoing, it's never ending, it changes, but there is a protocol manual that we have been working on updating is for the past year, probably 2 years, but it takes all departments to come together and identify the areas within that protocol manual that you update. So that's what we're working on.
And our staff have done a really good job over the last couple of years of reducing any accidents or injuries. But it can decline pretty fast if you don't stay on top of it, right? And you don't manage this appropriately. So we have, like Leander said, we have an engaged safety committee from all departments. Our public works department does a great job with safety meetings on a regular basis, and it's making sure that we communicate right with each other if there's a perceived hazard.
Yes.
We address those hazards right away. We document those hazards and we make sure that those, you know, if there is an injury, there is an accident, if it's preventable, we do what we can to prevent that. It's you'll hear that from Director Harris all the time. Its highest priority is that nobody gets hurt. That's number one. Then we get the work done after that.
And I can say currently we have 0 claims open. And so I would say that goes through education and training of staff and our leaders being involved and engaged in the process.
I'll jump in here because Mary wants to allow me to provide you the update on proactive records management.
I trust that.
This is, as you know, public records management has high liability for the city. It's important that we are proactive in our management of all of our records. I will mention that one of our major projects this year that's going to affect all the departments. Mary reminds us that of every day is, as you know, up behind the customer service counter, there's the red files, the address files for essentially every address in the city of Shelton. Those aren't being used anymore since we moved to a permitting software. So those most likely best practices to digitize those, either dispose of the documents we can dispose of. We believe if we're required to retain any of those documents, we retain those, we document those, and then we decide if we want to retain those for any historical purposes. There's building permits, there's code enforcement cases, there's potentially some historic documents in there as well. So that is a project we'll be undertaking this year. It's a large project. We've talked and met with the county community development department, who over the last couple of years has been doing the same thing there and digitizing all of their documents. And they were measuring that in pounds, maybe tons now, I think. Yeah, so it'll not only make it more efficient to search public records, but get rid of those liabilities that we have with the records that we really don't have a good understanding of specifically what's in there. We kind of have the idea, but they need to be gone through. But also we're going to create space within our office, right? We've got these documents that are just taking up space. And as we grow, we need to, create efficiencies or create more office space. It's going to provide us some flexibility there too. So, that's just in tandem with all of the public records requests we get on a daily basis and managing those. And like I said, within those address files, there are building permits, code enforcement cases, there's utility applications, there's land use applications. It's the gamut of information. It used to be just a catch-all, that we go in that address file so we can manage it, as well as duplicates of many, many documents.
So are all these files going to be digitized or?
Correct. Yeah. We'll weed out what we don't need what we can weed out, potentially what we don't need. We'll record those appropriately. You have to manage that record too, right? So if you dispose of a document, you have to record that and keep that disposal record and then digitize the rest. So they'll be searchable. If somebody does a public records request, I'll give you an example. Usually like larger structures like Fred Meyer or even Alpine Way or some of those, we get regular requests from those about building permits, outstanding permits, code enforcement cases, any land use decisions, things like that. Usually I think they're either selling or refinancing, or there's something going on in the corporate world, and we'll get these requests on a regular basis. And that just triggers us to go look through the file and search through the documents and provide copies of those.
And those files, especially for like Fred Meyer, there are multiple, and there's large maps. There's one I was looking at today had photos that were printed. So it really runs with what is at those addresses.
Yeah.
And working on managing them appropriately with the state archives, land use and permitting records schedule with how they need to be managed and disposed of. Yeah. Big project.
We applied for a grant last year through Archives to actually take all these documents to a company that would scan them all for you. We weren't successful in that grant application. We can certainly look at that again this year, but I frankly don't want to wait on that. We need
The next grant cycle is.
There you go. So there you go. So this is a process we just need to go
So
through.
that kind of database program, so you have, say, a house next door and you've got plans in there and permits and stuff, and then you digitize those and then another permit's applied for. Does it automatically go into that file, or you got to punch it in there, or?
Not necessarily. At this point, it would be digitized, held in a folder, electronic folder. Our permitting software will hold that for new permits as of the effective date. So you might have to do some reconciliation, or if somebody does a public records request for any and all for that address, we'd have to go in kind of two places. But it's much easier than going through the physical
Yeah.
files and digging that information out.
We don't do microfilm anymore, right? That's the,
Actually, Microfiche is a program for document retention. Laserfish, sorry.
Laserfish.
Laserfish, yeah, it's expensive, right? Yeah.
But for historical records, and you see the different types of paper they used and the logos and things, like historically, when you digitize something, you lose the historic value of it. But when you have it on microfilm or
Yeah.
maybe I'm old fashioned, but
And if some of those documents can be held, they certainly can be, or they can be transferred to state archives and they're held there, which is great too, because we don't have to physically hold them. Yeah. Public participation, promotion of the city. Obviously, you know, we want to be as visible as we can in our community. We want to convey city initiatives as it's appropriate, build relationships in our city. One thing I haven't talked about specifically necessarily with leadership team is we did kind of the City Government 101 series just before the election, continuing something like that. Maybe in more of a Citizens Academy format that I've seen examples of in other communities. I think would be very beneficial to inform people of the work that's going on here. Our police department's done it now a couple of times. It's been quite successful in building those relationships, and we can expand upon that with other departments. We certainly want to participate in, you know, the Chamber Expo downtown, any career fairs. The National Night Out was kind of our first foray in 2025, a little more robustly, I guess, than just our police department years past. So continue those. Our volunteer recognition, I believe, is important to continue recognizing those individuals, and we'll take every opportunity we can to continue our outreach and community involvement as well. So, and this isn't obviously, you know, the end all be all. We can certainly add those opportunities as they present themselves for us. That is the end for admin. Let's see, any questions?
I asked Leandra, are we committed to NeoGov, and is there a more user-friendly platform?
We are committed to NeoGov. That's, we use that platform for our recruiting purposes. So when I'm posting for positions, it's through NeoGov. It's the Insight. They have like 6 different modules within the suite. And so Insight leads into the onboarding platform. I mean, and then it connects to, if we choose to go to purchase more modules, there's the Perform module that would help with performance evaluation. So I would say it's an investment, but I think that with putting more work into it, we can realize it. It will save us time. It will save time in the onboarding process. Currently, it takes a little over a day just to go through the onboarding process, so that platform will allow the user or the new hire to complete their W-4, meaning they can complete the direct deposit forms. All of that information can be provided to us prior to the start date, so that when they are here the first day, we can focus on, you know, reviewing policies and procedures, doing more engagement activities instead of just sitting filling out forms. And also we have more time allotted to ask questions when they start their first day. They can review documents ahead of time. So
It's, I think, I don't know how much of an industry standard, but it's
Yes.
a commonly used platform amongst municipalities.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then a question for Mary. Have we had any First Amendment audits from independent media? Because they usually attack the city clerk's office with, you know, and hang out. And is our police chief ready, and what's our policy if someone does that?
I wish there was one back that I could hop on. Thankfully, the clerk's office, we have not had any First Amendment auditors or anyone kind of adjacent to that type of person. That doesn't mean that it couldn't happen tomorrow. So it's one of those things that the training for that is kind of ongoing for us. In December, the clerk's office and then a bunch of city staff, we attended a training, a virtual training with MRSC about First Amendment auditors and I got some advice from lawyers about how to, especially for like customer service people who maybe will be prone, by this. And then on our side, for public records and, so I think we're as ready as we theoretically could be, of course, if it actually happens. Oh, we didn't think of that, or, oh, we need to go over that more.
Yeah. I think we're prepared. We welcome that opportunity to answer the questions of our public. You'll see that the authorized signage, authorized personnel only, that secures areas from individuals and the general public, not just, what people intend to be First Amendment auditors, but secures those areas so we can continue doing our work. It doesn't surprise staff necessarily. We're handling those in customer service areas. Even at our water facilities and our wastewater facilities and our shops, we have that signage too. We don't want anybody to walk into those areas to get hurt or enter any facilities that might be inappropriate. We're open and transparent. We want to provide the information we can. So if somebody asks, they come here and they ask for the information that's available, we will provide it at that time or make arrangements to provide that to them, much like a public records request. So yeah, we're looking forward to that if the opportunity presents itself.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah.
It's something that I will keep about like every day, so it's kind of always on my mind.
Yeah. And we've had, we've had that happen in the past, and frankly, it's turned out very well. When you provide the information that you're legally mandated to provide and serve the public as you would anybody else, then those individuals are happy and they move along to the next jurisdiction or the next stop, and we're transparent and go about our day.
Right, good to hear.
Okay. Harry, you ready? Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
For finance departments, work plan, so for starting with the high quality service, just focusing on employee development and succession planning. Make sure that we're starting the cross training strategies. We have been for a while now, but getting employees in place is important in order to start those processes. And at that time, what does the department look like? Do we need to really change this to where staff are focusing the areas to change them? For the budget and reporting transparency, transparent long range financial plan across funds. Continue to look at ways to utilize the Tyler Enterprise System for the budget development and reporting. We're in the process of implementing the precision budgeting module, probably starting in April. We purchased some pace hours through Tyler to help us with that project. This will help with hopefully eliminating the Excel spreadsheets for the budget process for staff costing, and because that is a very large Excel spreadsheet, the errors can happen. So we can utilize our ERP program to integrate with each other, maybe a much user friendly, and we can put in scenarios.
Much more efficient.
Yeah, it's more efficient where we can put in scenarios and how does it flow across the whole budget process, the whole budget for the funds? So,
I want to, if you don't mind, Terry mentioned something that's really critical about succession planning here, and that's recruitment and retention too. One thing staff has done, our department directors and our staff have done a great job is that succession planning, allowing staff the opportunity to come and present to council, right? Those are growing moments, taking on stretch assignments and more work. And so as you see throughout this year, that's something we're focused on, bringing other staff forward. So in council meetings, you'll see other staff presenting to you because it's just providing more opportunities for them to grow professionally, and learn and step up in the future. We're not all going to be here forever. We hope we have staff that continue to grow and take on greater responsibilities and greater roles here with continued investment. So I appreciate Terry mentioning that.
yeah, finance will start next. So, planning strategically, you know, using consistent guiding documents for procurement and purchase, purchase order module, we want to get in place also. This is another module that has not been used. We've had it for quite some time, but we want to begin using this. And again, this is probably a strength that will be to be able to use these case hours. And so then in the financial management, just through the budget development, considering fund balance, planning for the future, sustainability of city finances, capital replacement, city infrastructure across all funds. Just, you know, what does that look like? Do we need to explore new revenue options? You know, is it continuing the discussion on rate increases for sales tax, TBT, general funds?
Associated with service level discussions, right? But we have been talking about for almost a year now as we move forward through these budgeting processes, particularly when we are talking about using fund balance to balance that, the general fund. Those are continuing discussions. Well, for as long as we want to consider it, right? We'll be doing that.
Continue financial management, you know, enhanced on investments, operation communications for long-term investment strategies. I know I've been updating you a little bit just before presenting the monthly financial reports on our long-term investments. But maybe, you know, dive a little deeper in study session, we'll to give you a clearer idea of what we actually hold for investments. But also there's before the previous finance director left, we were exploring a partnership with the Washington State Treasurer's Office. They have a program called Separately Managed Accounts Program for local governments. This is to where it's kind of almost like piggybacking on you know, investments that the state uses. So it might be worth exploring that instead of just individually investing 1 million here, 2 million here. It's just an investment program that they manage and that they continue to reinvest when an investment matures. So it takes a little bit off our plate a little bit and streamlines it where it's a steady stream. Okay.
And utilizes the resources they have available, right?
Absolutely.
Because they have staff that actually
Yes,
are trained and
very much so.
Professional
More
investors.
options
Yeah.
or opportunities to buy in.
It's a bigger pool too as well.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then, so I've heard a lot about technology investment for our BMO tax system. Want to explore online filing platforms for our business community. I have started looking into some of those options. The one I found wasn't that great of an option, but, there's others out there that, I've been looking to, that a lot of other cities have gone to, so it's just a matter of getting them, you know,
Or any of them tied to the state system at all,
pardon me.
or any of them tied to the state system?
Um,
So when somebody applies for a business license, then we know that they're in Shelton and not just in Mason County or.
the one that I talked to so far has not, they're not tied into the state system.
There.
Mhm. Yeah, I haven't seen one yet. This is. Well, we want to focus on B and O reconciliation, right? We send out manually the quarterly. Monthly, quarterly, or annual billings. Correct me if I'm wrong, or
Monthly, quarterly.
yeah, yearly billings manually, right? We send those out manually, we collect them manually, so having the opportunity to pay online, EFT transfer, send somebody an email of rather than a physical mailing for the B and O collection, and then being able to reconcile that year after year or whatever payment period would provide us an opportunity to do some auditing of that system.
We just have the forms right on that platform. Instead of us mailing them out.
Yeah.
So what's the savings on postage and paper? It's like 78 cents.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's over 70 cents per. We have. I'm not sure how many, but it's thousands.
Wow.
Like three, you know, I would say like 3,000 per year. It's, we need to have shopper help us with that at the year end one, because it's so huge. And so that's more cost effective than our secretary, so they can easily do it there with their machines.
And less paper usage, so.
Yeah. And it's just more customer friendly, right? You know, you get online and click the tab and fill out your form and make your payment. It's just more customer friendly. People expect that these days. At the same time, it's more efficient for us. The B&O or the business license, that's kind of a different story, right? The state really dictates how that's managed. It'd be great to do some reconciliation, you know, associated with city business licenses and state business license. That's probably a different discussion, that one is warranted at some point. I know you've done a little bit of poking around on the state website. I've done some little bit of searching there too, and I've noticed some that aren't located in the city of Shelton might have a city endorsement. There's lots of businesses that aren't located excuse me, they're located in Mason County, but maybe not in the city. And then lots of businesses, right, that aren't located here, but do business with the city at the same time. So reconcile all of those at the same time.
Have we asked the state if they have any intentions on collecting B&O for cities in the future? Because when you do your monthly reports for the state, you do all that work. So I don't know why they just couldn't piggyback off that, and like they do everything else, like the sales tax. They take our sales tax that way, and so it'd be nice if they could piggyback off of that. But I know they charge us a little fee.
I have not talked to them personally about it, but yes, that sounds like a great idea.
If we do the work, why do it twice?
Yeah. And allow the business to do it once at the same time,
Yeah.
right?
That's what I meant.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would used to be a business, but yeah. You go online, you do your state stuff, and automatically your city stuff's done all the same day.
That's
Only
great.
governments work that way.
Well, they already do half the work, so it's just up to the rest.
The last one I have is for information technology, just to continue our investment for high quality services for internal staff. Just keep, identifying major equipment needs and plans for replacement. Just invest in hardware, software that assists staff being more efficient jobs. Oh, I have the question.
How are our investments doing? About 3% now?
I just checked this morning, it was 3.73,
Oh, that's a good one.
so it's not going down as quickly as I thought it would be, but, so that's good. We currently found about, it's 1.1.
Better than 0.1 we got for what, 15 years?
Yeah, when you looked at the bonds, some of the bonds we had, and it's one thing Terry's been really tracking is when these bonds mature, is taking those into LGIP, local government investment pool. Because that's been much better return
And
for us.
3.7 is pretty good. I was looking the other day, I've seen 3.3 below.
LGIP, another acronym.
Sorry.
Local government investment.
Got us.
Yeah, one thing about IT, it touches everything, right? Everything we do requires some form of IT services. Our managed provider right systems provides us with service that we can't provide in-house because they've got such a breadth of experience there. But it's just a ongoing and increasing service level we need to look at internally. As Cody Van Beek was successful in getting a grant to help replace some servers this year to the tune of almost $50,000, which was great. Those seem like those are on an annual basis. Or those investments that are needed in switches or servers or any of our hardware at the same time. So cost of doing business, essentially.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
No, keep
You're up.
court. Sorry.
I'll set you one time. So. So. Yeah, the first thing we have is securing ongoing funding for the individualized therapeutic court IT support. We have to apply for that each year, and since 2022, we've been lucky to get that funding. And takes care of 100% of the cost of the court. You know, our action plan for that is to regularly review and evaluate the program to ensure its effectiveness and efficiency, and see where we might need help from. There are other courts out there that often ask us for help in areas of running their courts, because it's all pretty new to municipal courts, even though we've been doing it since 2022. It's still, there's always something that comes up, you know, that you need some help with. So, our primary goal of therapeutic court program is to reduce recidivism among participants. That's been going really well for us. I think we may have one person that reoffended. And I don't know that there's a conviction on that case yet, so.
One person district court,
Yes.
still pending. But we got a second person who had a suspended third.
Right.
Like point out, not alcohol and drug related.
Right.
So even though it was a new crime, it's not connected to their addiction, so that's great.
And our court facilitator, Breeza Morris, she tracks all of that. And she checks it every 2 months to see if there are any new charges. And if there are, she watches that to see if there's an actual conviction at the end, or if it's dismissed, or what happens with that. But we do need to track them for about 3 years after they graduate and see how everything.
Was that part of the Blake decision fix that? Or
Kinda.
because they got like two
Yes, kinda.
chances at going into service or not
The
service.
legislature, when the Supreme Court ruled that the Class C felony possession law was unconstitutional. We then had effectively no law,
Yeah.
if I remember,
Yeah.
about drug possession at all. And then Olympia, gets messy and they reach a compromise. And we have a hybrid drug possession. It's like part gross misdemeanor, part misdemeanor. It's very bizarre. And but at the same time, there was a decision made. They thought lower courts, district court, city courts do a better job than treatment court because Superior Court. That did not go over well to Superior Court, because they had their own lobby group, right? But that's how those programs started. It was originally a grant, now it's reoccurring money. When we got the grant, the legislature told us follow the rules for treatment court, wherever it might be, drug court, mental health court, community court. Spend the money wisely and prove to us you can do it. And then he said, go ahead. So it's like an experiment, effectively, a challenge. We decided to do mental health court and alcohol drug court and community court all combined in 5 languages. And for us, it's gone really, really well. And Office of Administrative Courts is very pleased with us. You should know that there's been budget tightening. The state court system was cut 6% across the board last year. And we lost nothing in our money. People like Snohomish Mission King and lost a lot. They lay off employees in their treatment court programs. They got major cuts, and we were cut none. Because Olympia knows we're very efficient here with money. We get good results with their money. We do no extra spending on things that don't matter. We use public money wisely, and we are rewarded by not being cut.
Yeah, so we're just planning to continue with that, and improve on it as much as we can. It's been a really successful program here. Next thing on our work plan is court staff training. So effectively, training court staff ensures that courts run smoothly and that justice is administered right. It's very important. There's a real emphasis right now on GR 33 disability accommodations. So we're doing a lot of training, a lot of webinars and learning about that and how we can better help people with accommodations in the court system. So we've been working on that. Mark was able to get our doors out here done and at the police department, and that's been great. So, people can just wave their hand in front of it now and the door opens. So that's a big part of a problem that we had for access that's now fixed. So that's challenging as well. Always improving on customer service skills, technology efficiency with the new CLJ CMS. That is the new system that we go live with on June 1st. And
We're all really excited.
I heard a
it's a
hiccup
lot.
there.
It is a lot. I mean, it is adding a lot of work every week to all of us. We're hanging in there and getting everything in on time, so they can get it loaded up into the system for us. So when we do the conversion, hopefully everything will convert over to the new system and not have any issues. And then, of course, ethics and confidentiality training we go through as court staff. Very important. Court management monitors performance measures for the effectiveness of court training programs, helping to identify areas for improvement and ensure that the clerks are well prepared for their roles. The court is sufficiently funded for court staff training in 2026. We're still in the process of going mostly paperless in municipal courts. The same thing like was discussed earlier. Trying to take files, scan them in. We're getting ready for our new e-file system, which comes along with the new court system, where if someone comes to the window and files a document, we no longer keep that document. We scan it in and then we of course stamp it for them and then we give them back the paper. So we're not holding on to tons of paper. So I think that's gonna be really, really good. The judge just finished our new court rule that will go up on our website page very soon, Mary. I'll send it to you.
I just did today, you're fine.
Yeah, I just finished it and it gives all of the information for attorneys and for the public on how they will be filing with our court. Beginning June 1st, it's mandatory after July 1st. So they'll have 30 days where attorneys can just come in and file either the way they're doing it now or through the new system and then after that.
If somebody's pro se, or say have no attorney, or they're a crime victim or something like that, they do not have to go through the computer system. They can come up to the counter, file a paper, we'll scan it, give it back to them. It's the expectations on the attorneys, the professionals, not anybody else.
Yeah, so we'll be tracking the number of users that are utilizing the new e-filing system over time and compare it with the numbers before the implementation. Measure the average time taken to complete a filing, analyze the frequency of errors or rejected filings due to technical issues or user errors. So sometimes when attorneys file with the court, they'll put the wrong case number. Well, we will be able to reject that back to them in this system so that they can correct it and get it in properly. There are courts out there that are going to be charging attorneys for doing that. We're not charging for that.
Which is nice.
Simple mistakes.
Kitsap County has Superior Court has Odyssey, still practice law, Kitsap County has Superior Court. It's $12.50 each time you make a mistake with the name and number does not match it.
Wow.
They reject it and send you a bill. We will not do that.
And then I have promoting and preserving the court's 37-year-old community service program. So yeah, it's been going a long time now. Our objective is to leverage community service as an alternative to incarceration, reduce overcrowding in the jail, and lower costs associated with confinement. We aim to provide opportunities for community service participants to develop new skills and engage in constructive activities, improving their employability and social integration, and continued increased assistance to the Code Enforcement Division of the city. They do request the assistance of community service. They do. So the action plan for community service is to repair the harm caused by criminal behavior by involving offenders in positive contributions to the community, promoting healing for victims, and restoring community trust. Make the community service crews more available to work alongside code enforcement on large projects. And these two programs are integral and necessary for completing important projects. Also working on educating defense attorneys on the benefits of on-site community supervised community service as an alternative to jail time, so that this option is used more frequently, sentencing option. Just making sure that the attorneys know that we have a program here. If they use that, if it's a case where it makes sense and the judge decides that, we would like for the community service to use rather than spending a few days in jail. So. Yeah, and I think it does reduce incarceration rates. Results in significant savings by lowering the cost of housing, feeding, and managing inmates.
while people are incarcerated in jail, if they have any medical issues, the city pays those. Pay the medical bills, they pay the medications, all of that. It's expensive sometimes, so. Especially if someone has some emergency and they have to go to the hospital. So,
And I'll throw in it. As you know, Jerry has police service.
Yeah.
And our local court will give us some leeway. She's very smart and if I order community service, she'll talk about a lot. And if a disability of some kind, then we'll set them up. The local nonprofit, right? But we can better. But lacking that, it is physical labor. Clean up the streets,
I know what something they do.
homeless camps and things like that, right?
Jerry's pretty good at
Yes, so
finding the tough spots.
right, so there are, we're not naive. I mean, there are some people that have been in jail a lot.
Right.
And they would go to jail for 10 days instead of doing community service and picking up litter, right? Because they can do it staying in their head, meet all their buddies who aren't in the street right now because they're in jail with them. I mean, that's a reality, right? And for some of them. So we do leverage, at least I do leverage statistically in criminal justice field. There's been studies about it. So mainly out of England. I don't know why they do in America. But so if you're a career criminal, it might be at 3 days in jail, but you can do like 5 days community service in lieu of the 30 days. So if you're a career criminal, you weigh that, right? 5 days of picking up litter with Jerry versus a month in jail. Now, if you're a first time offender and you've never been in jail in your life and you're terrified of the idea of jail, you could say, well, instead of 1 day of jail, you can do 1 day community service. No one had a community service done in no time because it's a scary place. But the career criminal, they're weighing the cost of, well, how easily can I get this done? What's most convenient to me? So I want to give them incentive to do the community service and pick things up. Instead of jail. It works most of the time. Not all the time.
any questions?
I just want to heap praise on the individual therapeutic court and the success we've had with it. And former council member Catherine McDowell and I were witness to some of those graduations, and we really loved the way everyone got their due process and was being heard and fulfilling their commitments. So it was just something great to see.
Next semester, right?
And a question about the translators that we use.
Yes.
Sometimes we have 2 or 3 up there on the screen. Is there any AI options, of coming our way that's
Not legally allowed.
no?
How's that?
I remember sitting in here for one year graduation.
Who knows the
3
future?
separate translators, one after another, and so it was.
They're very good. And you know who the best one is by the one who chooses to go last. Which is usually the Carnival interpreter
That's
out in
right.
California.
All right.
But AI probably will be stepping in, but right now it is not legal for us to do that.
We still have our little robot over there in the corner, from COVID, from when the interpreters weren't coming into court, because it wasn't going to work out with them being on the phone or on Zoom or anything like that, because they need to go with the attorneys in a private area to discuss the case, right? Outside of court. So Quinn would, I would hand over the information to the attorneys on how to operate it. He would come over here, we named him, and sit here throughout the hearing and then roll over into the public defender's office. And it's just like a little iPad with the interpreter is on there. And they would have all their discussions and then come back in and it worked out great, but.
Yeah, law enforcement wants to update the software, they can use it. It goes around doors and windows, everything by itself. Yeah.
Pretty great. Okay, that's it. We're gonna do,
Feedback letters we got?
oh, yeah, so we had some feedback letters that's in our department report. Did you want?
Please, feel free.
So the judge had an idea to put out in our lobby, some pamphlets that if people wanted to, they could give us feedback on their experience here in court and or experience at customer service window.
I thought it'd be negative, because usually
Yeah,
people only comment when they're mad about something. But that's not what happened. Been surprised so far.
we've only gotten two so far, but one from an observer that was in court. And that person said the quality of service was excellent. The staff was extremely fast and helpful. Just continue to smile and be just as helpful. Thank you for everything that you do for Shelton, Washington, and all of its citizens.
And they were referring to Corey,
Mm-hmm.
in case you wanted. That was their experience with her.
And then another one was from a defendant that was in court one day. And she was here alone and had a small child with her, and everyone was trying to really help her out with the child. And she kept going out into the civic center to let the child run around and, get the Zoomies out there. So, and, everyone was just being really helpful with her. Our door opened at one point and the child ran in and ran down the hall into my office, hopped up in the chair. And I said, hey, you want a toy? I got a box of toys over here. So I gave him a new toy, and she was just thrilled. And,
That officer played a lot about a court breach
right.
during security, so.
So.
Of a toddler.
and, she left a comment. She said, quality of service was excellent. Everything from the moment I arrived went well. I felt safe, welcomed, and seen. The court staff provided radiant warmth and professionalism, and the space was thoughtfully designed with care and dignity in mind. Honestly, nothing stood out as needing an improvement. You've created something truly special here, you guys. So that's very.
And I always gotta say something extra, so I wanna point out that I go around to a lot of courts, okay? A lot of courts have a sign outside their doors that says no children. Okay. Well, reality is, a lot of people have kids and they can't afford a babysitter. They already got a public defender, which means they already have basically nothing. They may not have the grandma or grandpa or sister to watch their kid. So for this person to come to court with their kid is fine with me, because we want them to come to court voluntarily, right? She allegedly did something wrong. She wants to take care of it. She wants to be responsible, come to court. If we put a sign out front that says, don't come in with your kid, then she's just gonna turn around, go away, get a warrant. And it's just a disaster, right? And so we don't care if she brings her kid. And some kids are quiet the whole time. And some are very hyper. And to her credit, she did a very good job trying to control a very hyper kid. But I think it's important everybody comes to court is treated with dignity and respect. They're all presumed innocent until proved guilty or they plead guilty. And if someone's reality is they have to come with their kid, we're not going to turn them away, because it's a big deal they showed up. We don't want to warrant, because then they have to go find them. And every time there's arrests, people are put at risk. So we don't want that. So I'm surprised with the feedback, but we'll do it every day.
Questions?
Thank you. You guys do a great job.
Thank you. I didn't get a chance last month because I was sick, but thank everyone. I should have that. For renewing his contract.
Of course.
He's wonderful.
Work off of this, so you got it. Yeah. I'll try to keep up with you. Papers. Yeah, exactly.
Good evening. For the Shelton Police Department, for this year, as always, recruitment and connection is usually off. It always seems to be something that's ongoing, as it says, in timeline for completion. Just when we think we're there, we get knocked down a little bit. Currently, we have 2 positions opening. I'm anticipating at least 1 more this year, if not more. So I don't anticipate us being fully staffed by the end of the year. It's not that we have a shortage of applicants, but we have a shortage of lateral applicants, which really increases our timeline for getting these people onboarded at the academy. So I'm sure that we don't have more lateral candidates, but we do try and reach out best we possible to neighboring agencies and identify people we can fit our mold and we think would be good for our teams. So we've had success in that in the future. We don't always like to go and steal from other agencies, but
They're doing it to us.
yes, they do. So around here. So,
Right.
Next, our officer wellness program, this is still in its infancy. We started this last year. We did make some good couple accomplishments last year with our ongoing transformation of our PT / workout room, got some new equipment in there. This year, we appointed already a new program coordinator, who's going to be heading up that and getting more people involved with that. Our agency and be involved with the wellness committee for this shelf, just kind of open up those avenues of communication. So, employee development. I think we're actually really good at this. I mean, it's and the succession planning is basically built in the hierarchy of the way our department works. If I'm not in tomorrow, there's no question on who's next in line and what's going to happen, and so that makes it nice. I think we do a very good job on preparing people for these future advancements in their career. But this is also guided to us by CJTC and their training programs where our supervisors, we have to jump through certain games and get through certain training or a certain amount of time so they can hold that position, they can be certified. So it actually makes it easy on us a lot of times because we have to adhere to CJTC standards when we're putting people in positions. So but we will continue to do that. We always identify, our newer officers in the department who, want to do more, and we appreciate that because we're a small department and none of us do one job. I just don't have a patrol officer out there doing patrol. Doesn't exist. Don't have that position. If they want that position, maybe they'll work somewhere else. I need somebody to do multiple things. We just don't have the capability. Or you have that luxury, you just want to work patrol, it just does not exist. This year again, community relations, always big with us, all our separate events that we go to. Again, we're planning on another Citizens Academy at the end of the year. It seems to be fall time, works pretty good for that, pretty good for us to accommodate that. There's no official decision yet, but we're talking about maybe a junior Citizens Academy this year where we focus on, younger teenagers to be involved in that. And this year is a big year for WASDC accreditation. This is our last year of our accreditation cycle, runs from 23 to 2026. Which means next year we will be reaccrediting and going through the entire process. So we've already started on completing our files. And I have stepped down as the accreditation manager and I've handed that off to Sergeant Rand. He's heading that up, just succession planning. And we're developing a team that also works in the accreditation files, not just one person. For a while, I was the one that knew kind of how it was going, and that's not right because that's what happened to me when I first got into it, and I just handed it. And there was no one else who knew how to do it. I'd been to the training, so I figured it out. But I don't want that to happen to the department, so making sure I'm spreading the knowledge out. So we're getting different aspects of the department involved with accreditation. Whether it be Sergeant Brand, detectives, and Raiders Division. You hopefully will reaccredit next spring. We have two choices, either next spring, next fall. I'm hoping for next spring to get it done with and earlier. That way we don't have to meet additional standards throughout the rest of the year because sometimes if you wait on accreditation, fall that you're going to have to provide more proofs on your standards, being that you're almost through like 27, so you're not being. That's not part of your accreditation here, but they still want to see that you're really true to asks there. So We'll come to that decision in August, when we take a look at where we are. That's, at the end of August is our notification time to WASPACON, when we're gonna re-credit. And if we say we're gonna re-credit in spring, but we're gonna miss the goal, for some reason, it's not a big deal to push it out to the fall session if we need to. Next, flock cameras. I've been approached by a few private entities that want to put flock cameras on or around their businesses or properties. This would be totally incumbent upon them. I can give them the contacts to get with flock, and they can make those arrangements, and then they can share the data with us. Also, people paying attention, State Bill 6002 regarding flock cameras is making its way through legislation. It actually looks like a really good bill for us. It reiterates certain laws, no one, we don't use it to enforce immigration and things of that nature, but also addresses the retention issue and also addresses public disclosures, which is a huge issue for us when it comes to someone requesting just data from us due to potential, privacy violations or stalkers or whatever their reasons may be. So very looking forward to the passage of this bill. It looks like it's set up for success. So just keep hoping that it goes through. Last, for our records and evidence and report writing and all that, we have already initiated, as we talked about, initiated a paperless program. We actually started last month. We've started just with our reports prior to going with this program. The officer would write a report in our CAD system. It would print it out, pictures and any other supporting documentation. We turn that into the sergeant's box, which needed to be approved. The sergeants would either approve it or deny it. If they denied it, it would go back, then they'd have to fix it, reprint it, and then send it back. It was approved, it would go to records, and they would go through it, and then they judge it on a different level when it pertains to NIBR reporting and all sorts of other aspects of records. And they could deny it, they could send it back to the sergeant, then they could send it back to the officer, and then the officer would have to fix that, and then, so you see how there could be a real issue with tracking a report, even just because it's a paper copy. Where is it? I don't know. That's happened, and all the reprints and corrections and all that stuff. So now the new process is that they can write the report into the CAD system, and then they put it into a workflow, and then they automatically gets kind of just dropped into a box in the system for the sergeant to correct or to go through. They give the approval or whatever, and then it bounces over to records, and then records will put it out to whether it goes detectives or the prosecutor or whatever. So it's now that's the first phase of this, and we're not trying to put too much at one time. We have lots of other types of files in the department, and that's a monster in itself, and we're trying not to look at the big mountain yet. We're just trying to get this going right now, but it's going good, and very positive feelings about it. Questions?
Yeah, is it called the Blue Stripe program that you guys?
Rich?
Blue Bridge.
Yes.
So I have seen it. You're a little, like, it's a little stand-up thing and a piece of paper. I saw it at Uraco Coffee.
Mhm.
But I'd love to see it other places. How do we get them to other?
That's it, and actually Captain Patton was talking about, he has to get more of those
Okay.
thingies up and everything like that, but he was talking about starting to talk to other business
Yeah.
members within the show.
Yeah.
Trying to get that.
Yeah, because I love telling people about the program and
Yeah,
everybody
absolutely.
seems really positive about it, but
Mhm.
having it more places availability
Yep.
for people to access that would be fantastic.
Yeah, we've done really well on donations. I think
Oh, good.
we're sitting with $1,000.
I'm so glad to hear that.
We utilized it over this past Christmas season. We had an individual that was there for Shop at the Cop, and officers noticed that they were buying staples, they're buying food, milk, and that's unfortunate when we see that type of event. So we used the Blue Bridge account and help that person out with some groceries. And backstory was that her husband had recently been deported. So she was really upset that it was going to come off hard times for her and the children. So they were able to do that.
Thank you for that. It's a great program.
Chief, I just wanted to congratulate you for all your hard work on the WASP accreditation. And that's really important that we have a really high standard that we maintain that.
Absolutely. It's just not me, that's from our whole team, we gotta live that, you know. Daily, weekly, monthly, every.
And that builds trust in the community.
Everyone's doing their part.
Yeah.
Making sure they do. It's great.
And that's why we get a good cooperation rate with everybody. So thanks so much. And I've heard a lot of good things about the officers on how they go out of their way to treat people with dignity and respect all along, all in this. So when people report back to me and I hear that, I go, well, that I'll make sure to tell the chief that he's doing a good job.
Great. All right, thank you.
Those. I'm still stuck on the agenda, saying the duties as assigned.
Right, well, thank you. And I caveat what's in this document with the fact that we're currently recruiting for a community development director, so. You know, depending on who we get, maybe some of these things will change, things will be added, but this was, after speaking with staff, kind of what I thought was a good doable, there's a lot in here, but a doable work plan for 2026. The first two items you see there relate primarily to code enforcement in my view. One is kind of the ongoing fund that the council puts into the budget for $80,000 for structure abatement. We've used it in the past for things like that Railroad Avenue structure where we had an incident that's effectively opened up by the SWAT team, and we ended up using those funds to demolish that structure. We used it more recently for the fire burn structures at Park and 7th. A third structure, we're working with a new property owner to actually knock down and rather than use the funds, but we were able to use the funds to go through the abatement process, get an order, a standing order to demolish the structure. So that helped us work with the property owners to actually get these to come down. And it's, we don't use these processes lightly. They're used when we either have an absentee landowner who we can't contact, or they're refusing to rectify the situations. I mean, that's the process, and typically do the work with city staff. Similarly, the council has put $20,000 a year in for a community cleanup event that our code enforcement office uses as a carrot, sort of, so they'll have some code enforcement sites. They'll make these property owners and the general public aware that we're going to do this cleanup event where you can bring your refuse, whatever, as long as you're a city resident, and the city will then dispose of it for you. What we try to do is target, maybe some habitual code enforcement sites or, people that have been struggling to clean up their site. We'll let them know this is going on. Our code enforcement officer will, I believe, police might use some of these time to time as well. We try to get the word out. And if these properties don't clean up, then we follow up with code enforcement action. We try to make that known beforehand. If they take advantage, great. If they don't, you gotta clean it up anyway. The code says. As council is aware, we're hopefully coming to the finish line of our comprehensive plan update saga. It's been going on for a little over 2 years now. I'm expecting to have it before you for hearing next month. To get it over the finish line, that's going to be kind of a major push between, staff and our consultant. But following that, there's some kind of follow-on work that we're going to have to do several updates to our development code, zoning, and possibly our critical areas ordinance that covers wetlands, streams, steep slopes, frequently flooded areas. Our consultant is currently doing kind of a quick review of our code, see what needs to be updated following the comprehensive plan amendment. And that will relate not only to concepts and ideas in the plan itself, but also some state law that may have passed in the last few years. What comes to mind for me, most of it relates to accessory dwelling units. There's been a lot of legislation passed on those. And we need to update our code for that. The third item you see on there, affordable housing. I mean, as everybody knows, housing is at a premium, very expensive. What we want to do, not just through some of the ideas floated in the comprehensive plan, which are like the multifamily tax exemption, target areas for multifamily housing. We're also pitching in the plan to up the density allowances in a few of our zones. But beyond that, we want to review maybe some incentives or just flat out requirements for what I'm envisioning is more our larger developments, subdivisions over a certain amount, multifamily projects, having a way to require some affordable component of the project. And maybe in return, they get some bonus lots or, some reduced lot sizes or something, not to make it totally a stick approach, but try to throw some carrots in there too. So we want to look at that on a moving forward basis. Want to update our nuisance regulations. That's kind of the nuts and bolts of the code enforcement office. And I've been here 20 years. I don't believe we've updated those regulations in 20 years. So to say they're dated is putting it mildly. We want to just basically look at them with new eyes, more contemporary eyes, have public works involved, have our building department involved, and really try to think through some things that our code enforcement office has a difficult time enforcing because of the way the code is written. If we can make it more clear, we can make the requirements more clear for code enforcement. That'll help everyone because it's a big job, as you know, and some of these code enforcement activities can take months, even years in some cases, depending on how it goes. So anything we can do to expedite compliance, I think will help everybody. As you're also aware, we're working with Mason County Humane Society to transition to Humane Society taking over shelter and animal control operations. Our city manager has, I would say, taken the front seat on that, but community development is of course involved pretty heavily because that function lies under the umbrella of community development. So we're hoping to have something before the council in the next few months.
My hope is next month in March or next month with the goal, with the goal of potentially a transition June 1. That's what our discussion with Humane Society has been.
And for what I'm calling, internal efficiency, one that's been on here previously is, keep working with Energut. That's our permitting software. It's how we track inspections, building permits, code enforcement, and it's a daunting job. Frankly, it's taking a lot of our staff time to work through some of the bugs. Every time we update something, it seems like another connection somewhere else will break. Our staff has been struggling to update the new fees, believe it or not. We still don't have all of the fees plugged in. And we are working with Tyler representatives to try to work through that. But that brings me to my second bullet point that I kind of put in there at the last minute in a moment of frustration, I think, in dealing with the Tyler program. I won't bore you with the details on that, but what I'd like to do is work with Public Works and our staff and maybe just look at potential alternatives, within the existing amount we're paying for the Tyler software. If we can find something that is more user-friendly, more intuitive, not just for us, but for the public, I certainly want to pitch that to administration and then eventually to council. But the intent here isn't to go off the rails, spend a lot of money on the permitting software. Our software works, and it works fine in the sense that it helps us track. It's just we're spending a lot of time on the back end, trying to fix little misconnections and bugs that pop up. And we're, I'm hoping I can use leverage from looking at other potential systems to get Tyler to help us out a little, frankly. The last one is basically, and I realize looking at this now, I haven't had our new building official come in to introduce himself to you guys. I got to ask him to do that at one of our future meetings. But this last one comes a lot out of him directly, because one of the things I challenged Dan Woodard, who's our building official, is, when you come in here, you're going to look at everything with new eyes. You're going to look at our building permit processes. You're going to look at our land use processes. You're going to look at everything. And if you see a better way, or if something's annoying you, or whatever, bring it up. you know? Well, Dan kind of took that ball and ran with it. So he's been coming up with a lot of ideas. And one of the main ones is he started to come out with cut sheets, as it were, for typical permit processes that hopefully we start rolling out, getting on our website in the coming months, you know, for like just an addition, for a new home, for maybe a new business, you know, if we have something that walks through the fire inspections, the building department inspections, that sort of thing, something more user friendly for the public. But beyond that, what I added in here is, since we had some staff, you know, leave in the last year, and we've had some fairly long staff absences, what I realized is we need to cross-train within our staff a little better, because we're one deep in every function, whether it's code enforcement, whether it's permit processing, whether it's planning, one deep, and that person leaves for any reason, if they're ill, if they have a family issue, it's really a problem, because simple processes that might take that person who knows 5 minutes to deal with, I myself have literally spent hours trying to track down, how do we do this, you know? And we really need to do a better job of cross-training ourselves, essentially. And we're gonna hopefully focus on that a bit more this year, so that when people are gone, it's not such a disruption to service.
Right.
I think that's it. So, Dan, do you have any questions?
Just looking forward to the animal control contract with the Humane Society, and I'm also curious, isn't there a bill in the state legislature that might help with animal control in the city?
There's an initiative that would allow for, I believe it's an excise tax that would, within a municipality, to fund animal control and animal shelter services, yes, but I think it's over approved. And I don't know where it is right now, I mean, I don't expect you to follow
I wrote
up.
down that I needed to follow it up.
Yeah, I don't remember, it wasn't on AWC's agenda, on Monday morning, so.
It's a strong concern for animal control in the city. I think that's something that might get passed. And I'm also looking forward to working with the Humane Society to make sure it's not necessarily our 100% problem, but also shared.
Dan?
Where are we with the contract?
We're discussing the, most recent, email and discussion was around insurance. I talked to our city attorney today about some of the implications within the document. So it's essentially just getting everything in writing that we're discussing and making sure that we can, at least as two entities, kind of agree to the basic tenets of the contract. Then we can have a little more robust legal review, and then we can bring it back to you. So again,
Moving along.
yeah, we're having those discussions. They've, actually Humane Society needed some time. They've been hiring some vets and some other staff as well. So they need to kind of, get some coordination done there. Then, we need to work through the paperwork, if you will, right? The formalization, with the intent that we can come to the council for approval. They can go to their board for approval in advance of a effective date. So they can advertise for staff, they can kind of coordinate everything they need to coordinate to take over and start operations.
All right, got everything. Thank you.
So point of order, can I get a 2-minute break so I can send a text saying that dinner might be late because I'm not going to be there? Is that okay?
All right, anybody else want a 2-minute break? Okay, 2-minute break.
Thank you. Hot mic?
Okay, well, hi, everyone.
Only 3 people watching.
Okay.
Hi, Mom.
So we are
And then-
back, right? Okay,
Go
we're
viral.
back at 7:28. All right, so we're on to City Manager Mark will present information for the 2026 Department Work Plan.
Yeah, we're back with Public Works on the Jay and Aaron.
Good evening, Council. Jay Harris, Public Works Director, Aaron Nix, Assistant Director. So this work plan was put together think we first did these in 2021 or 2022. So this is sort of an ongoing update over the years. We did do something of some changes, so you guys sort of know how we're re-guiding the plan a little bit. So proactive maintenance was a 6-year goal we've been working on. And so in 2026, we decided that we really need to look at our asset management software program. We gave you a briefing, a meeting ago or so about the Schneider software. And so we're looking at moving away from the Tyler platform and going to a different platform for our staff. Because the bottom line is if the ground up people don't want to use something because it's too difficult, it's hard to get it implemented and everything going. And we're finding there's just way too much setup. And so the Schneider software is going to be quite a bit better. So that was one change that we made.
Well, they don't link with Tyler.
It doesn't have to essentially at this point. Yeah, because there's not a financial function necessarily within
With the new one.
with Schneider. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, great question. Great question. When we initially did it, inventory was supposed to be connected, like in the water shop, we have a lot of meters and that sort of thing. And it isn't though. It's not connected in the way that we thought it was supposed to be connected. And there is some benefit to that, but a lot of it is that the users have to use it. And it has to be really easy on a tablet for someone to look at their assignments and go drive around in their truck and complete them, be able to bring up a map, show them what they need to be doing, how they did it last time, when they need to go back there again, that sort of thing. That type of setup didn't come out of the box with Tyler. You have to keep working on it. You almost need an IT person sitting there programming for you the whole time. With Schneider, it's different. They have worked for municipalities. They know the field worker just wants to go do a bunch of things, close it out, move on to the next one. And so it's set up completely different. And it's out of the box solutions that are there ready to go. There's a very small implementation phase. And the good thing is on the Tyler system, we'll be able to move that the way that was set up and those aging work orders and whatever that we'd already done, they migrate over. So we haven't lost any of that, but we'll be able to move forward a lot quicker. Second thing is,
Jay, if you don't mind.
Yes.
It's also a great risk management tool.
Yes.
Because if we get a claim or a water line break or a pothole or anything like that, we'll have a work order system that says when we addressed it, we'll have pictures of it. Right? We can go back and address that immediately and say, sorry, it's not a valid claim, or we perform this function, we perform this maintenance activity. So it should help us out in the risk management area as well.
Then 5 years later, you show up because something's leaking a little bit there or something happened. You can go back and look at those pictures and be right on it about what did you do last time and what do you need to do? Oh, is that fitting right over there? We have that on the shelf or we don't have that on the shelf, that sort of thing. So, and then employee development. So as succession planning implemented for key roles, there's 46 people in public works and we're trying to bring people in. We bring in a lot of maintenance workers. A lot of them start out as summer helpers and then they go to other roles. Well, the goal is to bring them all the way up to this level in a matter of a year. Mark, you're out of the job in a year. But it takes a long time to train people. Everybody knows that, right? There's a lot of things going on in public works and there's just a lot to learn. But we hire right in the get-go and then our culture here is, sort of start to finish. This is a career for people, starting sometimes down lower all the way up through. We do have to hire from the outside though too. Sometimes we do need to bring other people in, which is good in a lot of ways. You guys have been in the business where there's people that come in from the outside and they give you fresh ideas and experiences that you didn't have or didn't know about. So it's good to bring, like Aaron came in from other places and a lot of other places. Not that he's an HR nightmare, he's definitely not. But tons of institutional knowledge here, and we really appreciate what you've done for this organization.
Proud.
So anyways, emergency management slowed down a little bit in the last year because of our admin assistant not having one in 2025, or it was limited. We did have an assistant that helped us with a lot of filing. But so anyways, what we did though for the update is we want to talk about climate resilience strategies for flood and wildfire risk, and sort of put that in part of our emergency management programs from 2026 on, to maybe 2028 or something.
Sea level rise, big issue.
Yeah.
That's for us, especially with guys that are that's an issue that we need to start planning for or try to.
So 2026 update for outreach and involvement. We want to increase social engagement through social media and virtual town halls and that sort of thing. So Olympic Highway North project there is going to start testing some of that. We're going to have an open house here. It's going to be on a study session night, most likely. And what I'd like to do, though, is record pieces of that and very likely push that out. So if people couldn't attend, they can attend a short virtual one of that where we go and look at the materials and that sort of thing. And then maybe have some additional, we can fill out some public comment page or something to get us some additional information because you weren't able to attend the meeting, that sort of thing. And then the last one is environmental stewardship. So we just need to stay with environmental standards. And then green infrastructure, and expanded recycling programs. Those are good words to really work towards in the next 5 years. And just work a little harder on like our downtown storm drainage, maybe some fish recovery downtown, highly urbanized area. There's some things that we can do there. And then maybe get on some recycling a little more, maybe some more glass or yard debris or compost uses, which is another thing, that sort of thing. Okay, so let's get back. Oh, go to the other page. So technology. So on technology, we really need to deploy our asset management system. And then we also can do some more real-time traffic monitoring. We're real close with the speed sign that we have now. So that's a radar speed feedback sign. That monitors traffic. How fast are you going? How many cars a day are going by there? That sort of thing. It doesn't give us truck counts, which is important for wheel loading on the pavement surface, but it does give us traffic volume data and speed, which is highly effective for a lot of things that we do there.
I just want to add one of the projects that we completed just this last year was, I know you've heard a lot of people talk about scanning and getting electronic. All of our asphalts have been scanned in and are electronically obtained for us. So that's any project that's occurred, they will submit as-built. We have put that into an electronic system and got rid of most of the paper.
So we can go back to 1952 and look at that water line plan and say, hey, there's a valve right there. Well, some of us paved over it and we can go find it, that sort of thing. Very, very beneficial to us. We're working on a better retrieval system right now. Kenny is sort of our wizard of finding them right now, but we're going to implement a better system in GIS so we can really bring up that data a lot quicker when you're standing there. Water monitoring is also on technology. The water monitoring is going to happen with the next upgrade on the AMI project. So right now we're doing walk by radio read, and in the future it's going to be radio read from an antenna, and the billing department can do that. It's encrypted data, all of that. But we can get real-time data for users at your house. If you're wondering why the bill was so high, you can sit there and look at water being used day to day and figure out, it's the afternoon when your kid comes home, they're taking a 2-hour shower or something or whatever it is, right? So it'll be really beneficial to look at that resource. We don't have that ability right now because we go out and we only read once a month, but the system will be monitoring your water use. It'll know when the water's leaking too. So at night, your water shouldn't be running. It starts to know what your habits are, and it will say you have a toilet running or that sort of thing. And we can get a hold of people to help reduce some of their water uses. And the last one is policy, practices, and procedures. So we're working on just sustainability resolutions, ordinance updates, and also streamlining permitting through digital platforms. You heard that from the community development department also, that our Tyler system for permitting is okay, but it requires a lot of back end work with our folks, and getting new permit information to people, better ways to do it, like that small project stormwater guide was very, very useful, that a person can come in that wants to build a house. This leads you through the whole process of what do you need to do with your stormwater, and you don't need to be an engineer to design this thing. You fill out forms and that sort of thing and make sketches the best you can, and it's very helpful to the applicants just to make the process easier for them. Okay, I'm ready to go on the work plan. So there's a few pages here, and I've talked about a lot of this already. So with proactive maintenance, one of the things we have going on right now is EM&R. So that's the equipment maintenance and rental fund. And right now we need to update the fund and what we're going to be replacing down the road, and get those asset lives in there of existing and proposed, what the total costs are going to be. And then that fund is a charge to each department. So if I want to use a roller, for example, or a dump truck for the parks, you fill out, a use of that through EM&R, and you get billed for that asset. Well, as I replace these assets, the cost is higher than the old one. And so that whole model sort of needs to be redone and make sure it's sustainable. Also, the street fund, I spoke to you guys, what was about 4 months ago, about looking at the general fund is contributing and holding the street fund up right now, that we would have to eliminate programs and cut staff without street fund contributions right now. So making that a standalone program down the road is a really good goal for proactive maintenance. So one of the goals on here is to maintain the pavement condition index. So I came to you, I told you we're in the low 70s. We're still tracking on that. Okay. We still need to be putting money out on the roads though to maintain that, because once we get behind and start falling into the 60s, there might not be any coming back. Right. So it's cheaper to keep it maintained than it is to dig it out and replace it and get into larger projects that are quite a bit more expensive. So that's really important. Asset management, that new system is so important with proactive maintenance. Our GIS system also is important, that our mapping within there is correct. Right now, we have the Stormwater Comprehensive Plan going on, and we are out surveying much of the stormwater system. That in GIS, it was a little poor in there, and it's hard to be proactive on your maintenance if you don't have good mapping of, I got an inlet, I got a manhole, I got a pipe, but where does it go after that? The system sort of, in some areas, we didn't have it completely mapped. So with the Storm Comp Plan, we're going to do a better job there. Employee development, Aaron, why don't you take off?
We're trying to integrate at least thought process. We've talked about this notion of people taking over, those kinds of things. So the cross-training thing is critical. That happens often. Like Jason had said, we are kind of one deep in areas, so it's helpful to make that happen. So move forward with that. One of the other things that we're doing is we're integrating requirements of staff to take training, leadership training, communication training, big ones. Just because it's helpful, it integrates into their work program. It's an assignment that they have to complete. and it helps improve them. So we are taking proactive steps, doing that to try to develop people coming up through the ranks.
There's good and bad with having a small staff, right? You get to perform a lot of different functions. There's osmosis, if not you're performing those, but also as Jason mentioned earlier, you're one deep. So if somebody's not here, you know, you lose that resource. So that's a benefit I've seen over the years being here this long. I've had my fingers in many different pies here in the city of Shelton, which is great and fun for those that really enjoy that variety of work.
ADHD, you're perfect. I mean, as it changes continuous. So anyways, yes, that's what we've done.
Thank you. Emergency management. So I spoke about GIS, really important that I know where things are in a larger emergency. So we've been working on that. Having the GPS surveying the Trimble head out in the field, and we got multiple people that know how to run it now, has been very, very beneficial in mapping our systems. We got a fuel management plan done. We know where the generators are, what their how much fuel they go to, where we have fuel available, how we're going to transport it, that sort of thing. We have a 500-gallon transport cube. We have a pump on it. You know, we're doing well on fuel management. If we don't have fuel down there, we are signed up with the county to be able to go up there and get fuel from their tanks and such up there. They're a little more robust. They got quite a bit more fuel, and it's a better bill. Our systems from the probably the 60s, 50s, 40s. It's old. It's well maintained, but it's old. Theirs is much more significant. So anyways, that's good. ICS training, that's incident command system training, really important. 100, 200, 700, 800, they're online. We got probably half the employees to take it. Without admin assistant, keeping track of people and all that. We're a little backed up right now. We haven't done much there, but we do need to add that into people's work plans. And then you do 300 and 400. If you're in an emergency operations center, you have to have those FEMA checks. It's part of the reimbursement process if we get into one of those, and hopefully we don't. It's important that we get there, though. The citywide emergency communications plan, we got it most of the way done. That's how can I get a hold of Mark? Do I know where he lives? Can someone drive to Aaron's house and go get him? Do we have his address? Because he's not picking up his phone. Those sorts of things, right? We need resources available. People are going to stay home to begin with, but they're going to need to come in here, though, to help us, right? So tabletop exercises, we need to implement those, and that's to sit down of a water emergency or that sort of thing, have people watching, and then probably not have the Todd Rhodes or the Matt Deemers sitting there. They're really experts at the systems. The next level down, then the next level down, and let them make mistakes and run into some walls, right? That's definitely something that's on our radar.
Some of the other actions we're taking is that we're looking to do a water processing plant, in essence, a mobile unit that we can insert in case our system's down. We can insert it into the river or creek or whatever, suck it out, it cleans it, and then we'll be able to distribute that to our citizens. So
all that water up on that spring house up there.
Perfect.
Pretty clean water.
Yes.
Pretty darn clean.
Trying to think about things like that, because the reality is you're never going to be prepared enough. And the reality is when you're in it ahead, you want to have you want to try to be somewhat organized so that makes some progress.
The wells might not be very reliable. The generators can turn on, but especially in an earthquake, if you get a lot of shaking, they stand up the pump, and then you can't get much out of them until you go do some maintenance work and clear them out and that sort of thing. So, I mean, we're lucky that we have some natural springs around, but we need to be able to treat that water and then disinfect it mostly. And also, we're going to need to supply about 10,000 gallons a day, about a gallon a person, and depending on when it happens and all that. And so you have to be prepared. The first couple of days, you might not see a bunch of people. But day 3, day 4, you gotta have some water online for some people. People figure out the food. You can make it a couple weeks without food. You can figure out your shelter. You can figure out some sanitary facilities, but we need to make sure we have water online. So that's one of the important things that we're working on. Emergency management webpage was done. Thank you, Mary. I gave her that. It's a little hidden on our website, I think, but it's under, where did you put that? It's under public engagement or? Okay, anyways, it's on there. If you guys get a chance, go look at it and see what you think, okay? We would appreciate that. Aaron, anything else? So, public outreach programs. So, what that is, a lot of that is, if we have a project, it's really good to just keep regularly posting about that project, what's happening, here's some maps, contact information and that sort of thing. That takes administrative help also to sit there and queue those up for us. So we're a little basic on our projects and that sort of thing on our website. But one of the goals in the future is to increase that. That'd be our yearly paving project, that sort of thing. So you'll see that there's minimal budget impacts except for having the person that can sit there and do a bunch of the programming, working with Mary to upload things onto the web page and that sort of thing. We do get out, we do some classroom tours of the wastewater treatment plant. I do give tours to all new employees also. I'm behind, I'm back up on that right now. We got to get some of those done. That we also have been doing this touch a truck up at the library, and that's good. Once a month, we bring up a sweeper or a roller or the vac truck, and we show the kids the different implements that we have, and it's pretty well attended. It's a good thing.
They like the horn.
Yeah.
They like the horns.
I worked with 2 Shelton High School students, both with desires to be in engineering. They came in, I showed them the plants, I took them around, kind of showed them kind of the educational pathway that they may want to take. And she actually applied to a big engineering school and asked for recommendations. So it's really cool that that's what we want to develop. It's our young talent like that for sure.
And if people are, if they're interested in a career in public works or anything in the city, Mark has been working with folks about bringing people in just to shadow for an hour or two, a couple different people, maybe for a day, find out how it sort of works in the background, right? And key interest in that. It does take some of our time. We're extremely busy. All of us are doing a lot of different things. But we still need to give, right, is what the point is on public outreach.
And candidly, I'm an example, Mark is an example of somebody that kind of got out of high school, started in the public sector, got me through college. And then I got hired on right after I got out because they knew me and they knew what I could do. So we need to do a lot more of that here too, is my hope, to kind of have that kind of continue doing it, just to kind of bring them back. I mean, they like I said, the amount of knowledge that these folks have, like the Mike Alballs and the Brent, they have just so much knowledge as they lived here and they've been here. So good thing.
So in the environment, most of it is to minimize negative impacts. A lot of this is our wastewater treatment plants. I talk about, a couple of years ago, the failure of the main plant. Power was knocked out. A valve didn't open. We didn't discharge. We filled up our, what we call the slack-tight tank, ended up bubbling out of inlets over there, and it blew up our disinfection system. And anyways, we got fail safes now to make sure that valve stays open. We only had a very limited amount of time where we could possibly have a spill. We were able to get it back online pretty quick. But with that, we now have spare parts for our disinfection system, which was big, that they're on the shelf and we're ready, to put that in if needed, where we didn't have a lot of that before, because we have a lot of modules and a lot of redundancy But at the end of the day, having some of that in stock was very, very helpful. Also, our filter replacements up at the main plant, getting that project done, or I'm sorry, the backup to the NBR plant. But anyways, putting those new filters in was significant. They did clog up. We put them in 3 years ago about now, and they've been doing good. We did get them, they clogged up a little bit, and so we took each filter tank down, and our guys went up and took every filter out and soaked it in an acid bath, and then washed it off, and then put them all back in again. And each bank took 3 days and probably 3 or 4 people. But that's the type of thing, though, that they were clogging up slowly, and they noted it. And we had some air scouring issues and some other things going on that we took care of. And but we got it back online, proactively. And so we make sure there isn't an issue up there. So most of it is to meet our permit requirements. And then storm drainage is sort of the big hitter right now. You guys have met Pat. He is our new stormwater technician working with Kenny Oberg. And anyways, he has done a good job to make sure we meet the state's permit requirements. And he's out mapping these systems and doing a bunch of other things to really get us caught up on the storm drainage, that eventually travels to the creeks and, to the bay and to the saltwater environment.
You probably want to add like 15 minutes to this meeting.
Do we need it?
I think I could be done in 10.
Okay, so let's
Okay.
add 10 minutes to the meeting.
All right,
We moved to, extend the meeting till 8:10.
Second.
all right.
They're holding you to it now.
Okay, I'll go quick. I'll talk faster. So technology, a lot of that's about GIS, asset management, meter reading, going to the central antenna, the base collection system. So that's really important. The fixed base system on antenna read is going to help out a ton of people. One, it helps our staff member. It takes us about a day to read meters now. Heretofore, we had 2 people out for a couple of weeks. So now we're down to 1 person a day. It's going to be 0 once that system's in. We can also do rereads. They do radio calls out of here all the time for rereads. That there was a bad reading or it didn't upload or whatever. They'll be able to let their console be able to get that information. So technology is the future. I don't know how many of you use ChatGPT, but it is pretty incredible when you ask it to look at some things, and what it gives you back is pretty well thought out. I mean, you don't publish it, you go through it, you look at it and determine, how good the work was. But it's a good tool that's getting better by the day. And anyways, it's worth trying. Anything else on technology you can think of, Aaron? So policies, practices, procedures. So a lot of this is how do we increase our trust? A lot of it is our standards manual and engineering. This is the go-to spot. This is where the information for a roadway is, or water line, water valves, how you build a meter set, how you get your meter in, how you put sewer lines in, how you build a water quality facility. It's all in our standards manual, which it's getting another dose of effort from the engineering staff and me, and we'll be bringing it to you in the next month, I'm thinking. We're probably 3/4 of the way through it. But having that updated manual and having it more readable. Right now, we just need more bullet points to break it up and that sort of thing, and make it easier for consultants and developers, engineers to use. Will be really good. In terms of our forms in engineering, we've done well. I have some new forms on my desk today, but we've done real well in terms of getting through our forms and updating them when we notice there's problems in there. And then also the master fee schedule each year. I mean, what a big win that was. I don't know, was that the start of your career as city manager? The master fee schedule going on where everybody updated the fee schedule about 3 years ago is when that started. What a great resource that you don't have to go find information. It's all in one spot, and keeping that updated has been great. And that is it. I actually didn't need 10 minutes,
All
but your
right.
questions will be 15, right?
No.
No.
I'm just happy to see the continuation of operations plan. I always bug Mark about it. But downtown is kind of cut off and there are bridges and really skinny roadways up the hill. So, and overpasses, and Goldsboro Creek kind of cuts us in half. So that worries me if there's an extended period downtown, and then the flooding, because our park over here, Neelan, floods, and Grove Street has those flash floodings, and up to 7th Street, right, is landfill, and it was used to be wetlands. So if there's a big event, we all might get reclaimed, and then we're stuck down here with no bridges and no way up. So that worries me at night. But and then having more than a 3-day event when we do have to think about water. So I'm just glad that we have a plan at least, and that we have a continuation of operations plan, and that we'll still have some form of working government service.
So our number one risk is wildfire. That's what it came out as. I thought it would be, big windstorm, snowstorm, that sort of thing, or an earthquake, but it's wildfire. So, but that's important. So we've gone around our water production facilities, the well sites, and removed vegetation well around them. We put on metal roofs. It sort of hardened up our spaces to try to protect from wildfire a little more.
Trying to get generator backup, but still.
And rolling generators with plugins where if a fire does go through an area and it will burn the backup generator sitting there likely. So sometimes it's not good that it's not at that site, but you can move one from one site to another, that sort of thing.
The other thing, just quickly, is that Mason County is heavily involved in emergency management, and they really they train us. So I meet with them on a monthly basis, and we kind of review kind of things that have gone on, and they're going to work with us to do some of these tabletop exercises.
Side question, about water. I've been getting a couple of questions about doing the water problems this year because snowpack is so bad, but we don't really use snowpack down here, do we?
That's a great question.
That's a good question, but yes, no snowpack. So a lot of it's groundwater, most of it is groundwater, and it's rain.
Enough.
Yes.
That's what I said. That's what I said.
No.
Give me the right answer.
Cities on the east side, or I-54 on the east side, have reservoirs, right? From the snowpack that comes down, they generate power and they use that for drinking water, and those are the communities that will be affected most by that. There are shelters 7 feet deep.
Right.
Question for sure. Yeah.
Then you snowpack up there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Keep the dam operational.
Yeah. All right. Does the council have any items for discussion?
Oh, yeah, I'm just kidding.
Okay. Well, in that case, the study session is adjourned at 8:01 p.m. Thank you. You too.